I regret to inform you that Brandon Aiyuk has checked in again. This is the full social media post. It was on Instagram. It includes a few more photos. We can go through those photos if you would like to see them right now. But since he's still a member of the 49ers and we're still covering the story, this is Brandon Aiyuk counting money. I'll note that these are $20 bills, not $100 bills. It appears that he's counting money on his driveway. And here you could see in the background, he's at Icebox. This is relevant because Icebox is the jewelry store in Atlanta where Brandon Aiyuk made a video about 5 months ago. And he even had a car with his logo on it, Whisk Him Away. This is from the Icebox YouTube page. NFL Brandon Aiyuk shows the rappers how to spend. Anyway, appears he's made another trip back to Icebox because he is wearing a different outfit this time versus that time. It is a red jacket in both cases, but the one back in October had Brandon Aiyuk's logo on it, and this one doesn't. So, a couple of the photos from Icebox, a couple photos from the driveway, some $20 bills involved, and Brandon Aiyuk has officially taken to social media again. Mike made this thumbnail. Not a bad one today, but that is the latest. 49ers still have Brandon Aiyuk on their roster. 49ers not really incentivized to release him unless they feel that they need a 90-man roster space that badly. When they decided to sign Larry Worth, the undrafted free agent linebacker, the safety linebacker hybrid, I talked about him in the video earlier today. They didn't release Brandon Aiyuk. They released Milo Eifler instead. So the 49ers apparently find it more important to keep Brandon Aiyuk on the 90-man roster now. The reasons should be obvious, but there are a couple of hidden ones that I could go through as well. What's really interesting at the moment that we're speaking right now, though, is that Stefon Diggs came out today and said that he was interested in playing for the Washington Commanders. And the prevailing thought is that if Brandon Aiyuk is even in playing shape, and the one thing that I haven't seen, I've seen a lot of Brandon Aiyuk posts with money and with jewelry and this and that. I haven't seen any video of Brandon Aiyuk actually working out. So we're not sure if Brandon Aiyuk is even in football shape at this point. But if he is and he intends to keep on playing, then the Washington Commanders seem to be a logical place that he would want to go, given his friendship with Jayden Daniels that goes back to the Arizona State days. So there has been a supposition that the Commanders might just be waiting for Brandon Aiyuk to be released by the 49ers, since at some point the 49ers will owe him more money. Asterisk to that, the 49ers will only owe Brandon Aiyuk more money if he actually shows up. And based on what I am seeing on social media posted by Brandon Aiyuk himself, I'm not sure if he has any plans of showing up to the 49ers facility anytime soon. Therefore, the 49ers can continue to hold him so that he doesn't sign with the Washington Commanders or any other team in the event of a release and get extra offseason and training camp time. Also, if the Commanders do indeed sign Stefon Diggs, who was just found not guilty in his criminal trial and who did express desire to play for the Commanders, if Washington does go that way and Stefon Diggs is from that DC area, so to be like returning home, you would think that Brandon Aiyuk, if he's even on the table for Washington right now, might be off the table for Washington, which might leave the door open for Brandon Aiyuk to want to renegotiate and sign elsewhere. Or if he's cut, he could just sign elsewhere for the minimum. So either way, if you're the 49ers, you'd rather just constrict the options of chaos here. And if he's under contract for no cost to you, which is the case for the 49ers right now, they've already paid out $48.4 million to Brandon Aiyuk. Some of that money you can see is sitting here on the driveway. The 49ers might as well just hold him until it is inconvenient for them to hold him. And right now, it is not inconvenient for the 49ers because Brandon Aiyuk is doing whatever he's doing on Instagram, and the 49ers don't owe him any money. Now, that could change. Again, I have to emphasize that it's only going to change if Brandon Aiyuk does something. The ball is in his court. That could change if he shows up between now and August 31st or September 1st, whatever the trigger date is, and begins participating to the best of his physical ability. I mean, he could still be hurt for all that we know. Jed York wasn't sure if he was healthy. We talked to Jed York about a month and a half ago at the NFL owners meetings in Phoenix. And if Brandon Aiyuk does that, then he would actually be in line to collect $24.9 million in base salary for this season. However, it's not guaranteed for this season. It'd be paid out on a weekly basis, but we can do the math. 24.9 million divided by 17 regular season games would be 1.46 million per game. So that the 49ers, if they had Brandon Aiyuk on the roster at the very start of the season for that first week, would owe him 1.46 million and then 1.46 million after that. I believe as a vested veteran, if he was on the roster past week 1, Brandon Aiyuk would be owed his entire salary for the year. But that will be a moot point if he doesn't show up. The 49ers can just put him on the left squad list again and not pay him. And last year they gave him an option bonus as part of his contract at the start of the year. Then he went on the left squad list, about 3/4 of the way through the season, maybe a little bit after that. Theoretically, the 49ers could try to get some of that money back. It's sitting on the driveway right now, if they could find where the driveway is. No, I'm just kidding about that. They would have to probably go through lawyers in order for that to happen. But there is a very strong legal argument from the 49ers side that the money that they paid Brandon Aiyuk last year as part of a $27 million option bonus, I believe it was, that money was not fully earned by Brandon Aiyuk. And that is when you could start looking at trying to get some of the option bonus and some of the signing bonus back. But as it stands right now, the 49ers have paid Brandon Aiyuk $48.4 million to play 7 games. That is on the extension that he signed ahead of the 2024 season. And he's obviously left the squad. That happened late November, early December of last year. And now the only way that it seems that the 49ers are able to get an update on Brandon Aiyuk is through social media. I have to say that just as an outsider, I don't have any inside information on this, but there's got to be at least some concern for Brandon Aiyuk as a person. I mean, we could start talking about mental health and all this and all that, but just the behavior has not been rational, to put it kindly. It has not been rational. He had the money that I'm talking about that Brandon Aiyuk had scheduled to come to him this year that triggers with that option bonus, or set the trigger on August 31st or September 1st, right before the start of the regular season. That money had been fully guaranteed to Brandon Aiyuk when he signed, or not when he signed the contract, but it triggered into an injury guarantee that obviously then vested into a full guarantee after he got hurt. All Brandon Aiyuk had to do to ensure that the $27 million this year, the option bonus plus the base salary, was fully guaranteed. All he had to do to secure that bag was go through the bare minimum of rehab and show up at the team facility. He did not do that over the course of last summer. So the 49ers found a way to void those guarantees. Then Aiyuk was around the building for the first few weeks of the season. It looked like he was on track to return. He was even running off on the side, and then he just vanished. He just disappeared late in the season when I don't know why. People haven't heard his side of the story yet, so all we can do is speculate. But the whole issue here, like when we look at rational versus irrational behavior, is that he basically lit 27 million on fire because he's not going to get that from the 49ers this year. Either he shows up and starts participating and they'll find a way to either cut him or trade him. And if they trade him, then it's going to be a whole lot less than 27 million that he's paid, because an acquiring team would have to renegotiate that contract. Nobody's taken on Brandon Aiyuk at 27 million for this year. So that money is not coming to Brandon Aiyuk, or he doesn't show up and he stays under contract with the 49ers and he doesn't make that money because you have to show up to actually make money. And the 49ers will continue to enjoy the salary cap benefits of the proration and the multiple prorations that are on Brandon Aiyuk's contract because of the signing and option bonuses. As it stands right now, and I can illustrate this to you guys by taking a look at Brandon Aiyuk's contract on Over the Cap. But as it stands right now, his salary cap hit for this 2025 season is only, or 2026 season is only $14.6 million. So I've got a screenshot. I'm going to put this up. Now we're going to be talking the actual money. Maybe make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see. So the number that the 49ers are dealing with this year is this, the 14.6 million. The prorations moving forward here are born of the fact that any signing or option bonus is stretched out over 5 years if the team wants it to be against the salary cap. So as you can see, the $27 million option bonus or $24.9 million option bonus that kicks in this year gets combined with the one that kicked in last year and starts prorating over all of these years. So the cap hits are deferred until 27, 28, 29, and so on and so forth. Aiyuk's cap hit scheduled to be $41.5 million in 2027. Next year, $43.3 million the year after that. But that's only assuming that the option bonus is actually paid out. If he is released or traded early, the 49ers will have to take the salary cap burden early. They can no longer stiff arm it into the future. So a hidden benefit, and not so hidden if you follow the dollars and cents, if you follow the salary cap, but one of the benefits of potentially being able to hold on to Brandon Aiyuk without paying him is that you keep these salary cap hits stiff-armed into the future, and it stays at $14.6 million this year. You know, if he doesn't show up, it'll be even less this year because you don't have to pay off that option bonus. You'd only have to pay off the salary cap hit of the money that has already been deposited into Brandon Aiyuk's bank account. So the cap hit, if he doesn't do anything, might even end up being lower in practice for the 49ers than $14.6 million. So San Francisco is fine to just sit on their hands right now. They are totally fine to just sit on their hands and wait to see what Brandon Aiyuk might do, unless he gets in trouble off the field, or you think there's a chance that he gets in trouble off the field, or you need his 90-man roster spot for somebody else. But if something happens off the field, the 49ers might be more comfortable right now not being his employer. But apparently right now the 49ers are okay with just sitting on their hands because they don't need that 90th roster spot for another player. They released Milo Eifler, they didn't release Brandon Aiyuk in order to make room for Larry Worth. Anyway, I'm ready to answer some of your questions. Mike is going to send me anything that he wants me to talk about. I'm going to get some of my fancy water. Rehydrate. You guys probably don't even know that I had food poisoning for a good 24 hours. Our video production did not stop. It was like magic. I couldn't get out of bed, though, for a good 18 of those hours. But we're all good now. I think I'm regaining the weight. I think I lost like 6 or 7 pounds. And we are back at it here with another live on the channel. Nobody knows if Brandon Aiyuk is healthy. Everybody keeps on asking, is Brandon Aiyuk healthy? I asked that same question to Jed York at the owners' meetings, and he said he didn't know. I'm sure Jed, well, maybe not. Like the 49ers, I think that the last available piece of information that San Francisco got on this was when Brandon Aiyuk was actually in the building in fall. Then they haven't been able to get in touch with him since then. So Brandon Aiyuk has checked in on social media, either on YouTube when he drove at a very high rate of speed by Levi's Stadium. I think that was in December. Or on Instagram, as we saw a couple weeks ago, and now we see again today with the posts that I have been showing you. We'll call it driveway gate. Now, 49ers receivers or ex-49ers receivers in driveways have an interesting relationship. Remember Terrell Owens started doing sit-ups in his driveway, but he wasn't with the 49ers anymore. He was with the Philadelphia Eagles. This time, though, we get Brandon Aiyuk in the driveway with his money. Now, again, notably, not $100 bills. We got $20 bills for Brandon Aiyuk. And, I thought if you're flexing, it's supposed to be hundreds, which obviously would be a whole heck of a lot more money. To be 5 times the money that we see here. But when you zoom in, there are only 20s. If he does or does not show up, what would happen to the cap and dead money if traded at the deadline? Well, Brandon Aiyuk, dead money is going to be dead money no matter what for Brandon Aiyuk. Dead money is only money that you have paid out to a player already. So if he doesn't show up, you don't pay out the option bonus. So that's not going to count against the 49ers payroll at all. But you've got money for Brandon Aiyuk, and I have the exact amount if you want to know. You've got money for Brandon Aiyuk that's already been paid out, that has been prorated into the future, that is going to hit sooner, immediately, whenever he's traded, if that does happen. If it's at the deadline and he doesn't show up, then he's not going to make any of the option bonus that the 49ers have for him. But they would owe him the dead money that's, or not owe him, they would owe the salary cap on him, the dead money that has already been paid to Brandon Aiyuk. So I've got a little spreadsheet that I've done some of this math on. The total acceleration beyond 2026 is 21.25 million. 21.25 million has yet to hit the salary cap, and the 49ers have already paid Brandon Aiyuk. So the 48.4 million is already in his bank account. 49ers could try to retroactively recoup some of that, but I don't know what their actual stance on that is. Again, lawyers would probably have to get involved for that to happen, but it does seem the 49ers would have good standing. Out of that 48.4 million that's been paid to Brandon Aiyuk, 21.25 million has yet to hit the cap, would hit the cap if he did get traded. Can Brandon Aiyuk force his way back on? This is an interesting question. So yeah, if he showed up, he has every right to show up and start going through the motions. Now the 49ers coaching staff has every right to say, no, you can't practice. We can suspend you if they don't want him here. But what Aiyuk can do is actually force the 49ers' hand, because if he does or starts doing everything that is prescribed to him contractually, he actually will put himself back in line to make the option bonus when it does trigger, the $24.9 million option bonus at the end of August, start of September. The 49ers then would have a decision to make. Well, this guy's starting to do everything again. What do we do? They probably would not be willing to pay that money committed to Brandon Aiyuk, so they would probably release him at that point. Now, Brandon Aiyuk really, really, really wanted to play with the 49ers, and there's some kind of long apology, and he demonstrates to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that he's gotten through this crisis or whatever heck is going on right now. Could the 49ers give him a chance? Maybe, but they might tell him, hey, you're going to have to do it at the league minimum. Fine, if you really want to play for us, let's rip up your old contract and let's do this at the league minimum, and we can cut you any day if you're not good enough, or if you slip again. I think that would be the only way that Brandon Aiyuk would be able to force his way to playing on the 49ers. But that's obviously not even the most relevant thing if that's not what he wants. Again, we are not even sure if Brandon Aiyuk wants to continue playing football. We have seen so much of this, yet so little Brandon Aiyuk actually practicing football. Like, we haven't seen anything of him actually practicing football on social media. And if I remember correctly, before he signed the mega deal in 2024, he was posting videos running around in a park catching deep passes in 2024 before that contract actually came through. So is Aiyuk even in shape? Is he working out? I mean, I know people have speculated about his physical appearance, mainly in the last Instagram post, People are saying his face looks a little bit puffy. I'm not good at dissecting that kind of stuff, and I hate to speculate too much there, but that's been a common point of discussion. Is, well, wait, has this guy even been working out? The only reason that I brought it up last time too, just because I like to stay away from baseless speculation, but I literally asked Jed York, is Brandon Aiyuk healthy, after Jed York implied that he didn't know if Aiyuk was healthy. And Jed again said, I don't know if he's healthy. And you would think that somebody who's trying to sell a trade would, if the receiver was healthy, would say, hell yes, he's healthy. He would want to make sure the goods right here are advertised well. But Jed York didn't say that, and it's just made me wonder what kind of physical condition Brandon Aiyuk is even in. And I see a lot of the comments, people thinking that he doesn't even want to play. All of this is speculation at this point regarding his playing status. All that Brandon Aiyuk has given us to work with is the social media posts. And those of you who are late coming in, this is what it looks like. Michael says the locker room would never accept him. Probably not. I mean, we're going way too far down a speculative rabbit hole here. But if the guy reworks his contract to play for the league minimum, and he's on as much thin ice as a random undrafted free agent rookie, I think it's a lot different than a guy who's scheduled to make 25 million guaranteed, which is what would happen if that option bonus triggered. So, I mean, whether or not a guy is accepted by the locker room, I think a big variable to consider there is how much money he's making, because behavior and pay go hand in hand when it comes to things, some of these myopic topics like locker room acceptance. But I mean, that's probably not even in the realm of possibility, given what we've seen from Brandon Aiyuk and given what we've heard from the 49ers. Brandon Aiyuk, and the thing is, like, we haven't heard anything from Brandon Aiyuk whatsoever, like nothing. Like there has been zero from him besides these posts. The last one a couple weeks ago, he was stepping off of a private jet. This one, he's at the Icebox in Atlanta. And again, it looks like he made a return trip to Atlanta if we want to dive really deep into this. But you go, this was the Icebox back in October. And that was also from October. That's his logoed car. This is something I've been wondering about. He flew, if you watch this video on the Icebox's YouTube channel, he got in from the Atlanta airport. He flew all the way from the Bay Area. He said, I'm coming in off the long flight from the Bay Area. So he wasn't in his home territory. And yet he still had a personally branded car. Now, maybe you can rent a car and you can get your branding on it, and maybe it's not that pricey, but it seems like a rather, and this is me interjecting my opinion into this seems like a rather unnecessary expense to fly cross country and to buy a lot of jewelry. And even if the jewelry is a necessary expense, and that can be debated, but to also have to not only have a car take you to the jewelry store, but also have your branding on the car. To me, you guys can give me a thumbs up if you agree. That struck me as a little bit excessive. But anyway, that was the last trip to the Icebox. You could see that Brandon Aiyuk was wearing this darker red, I guess a maroon jacket. And it's a similar color here, but it doesn't have his Brandon Aiyuk logo on it. This is just an Adidas jacket that Brandon Aiyuk has at the Icebox this time. So it appears that at some point between October and now, there was a return trip to the Icebox in Atlanta. All right, if you guys want to talk about something else than Brandon Aiyuk, I'm open to those questions as well. This is true. He does have to report in to be paid his contract. That's what I've been emphasizing here over the last 20 minutes. I'm happy to change the subject, though, guys. Ryan says, sorry, this is blocking my face. You were a little confused by Cosell's Purdy take. I thought we were past the he's a distributor phase and past the he can't run around and make off schedule plays like Mahomes. So if I remember correctly, Greg Cosell, who had a great appearance on our show here, we did a nice 40-minute thing with him last week. I don't. He said Brock Purdy's a great distributor. I don't think that calling somebody a distributor is an insult. I think that Greg means that with the highest praise. It is hard to properly distribute the football. I mean, most quarterbacks can't do it. Now, what he said was that Purdy might not be quite the runner as a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson, which I think everybody agrees with. I think that's true. But he also mentioned that, not that Purdy is not athletic, is what he said, but he said that the 49ers are at their most efficient when Purdy is efficiently distributing the football. And I think that's all true. So I wouldn't take somebody going out and saying that a quarterback is a good distributor as an insult. I mean, that's only an insult if you're into the whole social media warring over quarterbacks. But if you watch a lot of tape like Greg Cosell does, and you're watching, okay, where's the ball supposed to go? How's the quarterback executing the system? First read, second read, third read, progressions, movement in the pocket, manipulating the defense with eye movement, and also manipulating the pocket with good footwork. I think that saying that somebody's a good distributor is a very, very high compliment. So I think that you just interpreted Greg's comments as being pejorative, but I don't think that they were at all. If you distribute the football well as a quarterback, that is your job. That is why they pay you. And there are very, very few people in the world who have the talent and the ability to effectively distribute the football in the National Football League. And Brock Purdy is one of the very best in the world at doing that. And I think that Greg Cosell really appreciates the difficulty more than your random video game player. And he doesn't care what people who play Madden think or what people on Twitter who are uneducated about quarterbacks are saying about Brock Purdy. He cares about what coaches think. He cares about what football people think. And in that lexicon, distributor is actually a big compliment for Brock Purdy. Exactly, right here. What else is he supposed to do other than distribute the football? It's the quarterback's job, literally. And when that's not available, he can run. And we saw that against the Chicago Bears. Barry says that Curtis Rourke will be the 49ers' second string quarterback next year. I think if all goes according to plan and Curtis Rourke impresses this year, that would be an optimal solution for the 49ers, because Mac Jones is not going to be as cheap in 2027, and this is his final year under contract. So if Curtis can blossom into that QB2, then the 49ers have a nice succession plan going behind Brock Purdy. All right, if you guys, whatever you think of this, if you don't like it, hit like the whole Brandon Aiyuk thing, make sure you let us know in the comments section. If you do like it, then let us know in the comment section as well. But the driveway comes into focus with Brandon Aiyuk. There he is, counting his $20 bills. That's the update for today. We'll talk to you all soon. Hit that sub button.